economic success. Now therefore I, Emily Keller, Mayor of the City of Hagerstown, Maryland, do hereby proclaim the week of October 24th through 28th as Economic Development Week in Hagerstown, and encourage all citizens to recognize and reaffirm the importance of business development locally and statewide. Back to you guys. While I have you guys, I just want to give a shout out on all the incredible things that were happening. I know we've talked about it a couple times today, but there's $400 million worth of groundbreaking happening in Hagerstown and Washington County today. And that's a true testament to the work that you guys do. So thank you very much.
Well, just a couple of things to say that economic development is something that everyone's part of. It's a great part of our profession. And just in general, we're just trying to encourage investment into the community, for jobs, and just other opportunities for everyone. And that can't be done without, of course, our city staff, our department planning, code administration, zoning, our engineering department as well, and of course our community partners like the Chamber of Commerce, Washington County's Department of Business Development, and Downtown Hagerstown Arts and Entertainment District as well.
And going off of Chris, additionally, it's about collaborating and working in partnership for business growth. So in partnership with the county, we are totaling 50 citywide businesses next week for Business Appreciation Week that we're going out and visiting. I know Takesha and Emily are attending that with us. So make sure to follow our Department of Community and Economic Development Facebook and LinkedIn pages for updates. So once again, we appreciate this recognition and accept this proclamation on behalf of all of our partners. So thank you guys.
Here it comes. This is the best part. This is the best part.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a preliminary agenda review. If you have any questions, please stop me. We'll meet on the 25th at 6 o'clock for a work session. 7 o'clock will be our regular session. Call the meeting to order, have the invocation, and pledge to the flag. We'll follow the rules of procedure effective December 15, 2020. And our meeting schedule for November will be as follows. November 1st, we have a strategic plan update at 10 a.m. November 1st, we also have a work session at 4 p.m. November 8th, work session at 4 p.m. November 15th, work session at 4 p.m. November 22nd, a regular session at 7 p.m. And November 29th, we have no meeting. We have some appointments to the Hagerstown Youth Advisory Council. We have a proclamation for Complex Regional Teen Syndrome Awareness Month. We do citizen comments. You can come in person or email the council comments at hagerstownmg.org no later than 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 25th. We have a public hearing for the annexation of 2 Western Maryland Parkway. We'll approve the minutes from September 13th, 20th, and 27th. The consent agenda, engineering, Fairgrounds Park Stable Roof Replacement Phase 2 for $86,000. For fire, generator replacement, Station 3 for $132,533. Under IT, Storinator backup appliance replacement, $55,868.77. For police department, fiscal year 23 NTF reimbursement for $500,000. For public works, we have bulk road salt for $85.61 a ton. 2022 Ford F550 dump truck for $122,375. Under parks, 2022 Ford F550 dump truck salt spreader for $122,375. An open container law exemption application permit for the Chris Kendall Market. Under utilities, both water, annual generator maintenance for $10,249, and automated vehicular entrance gate for $132,635. Under unfinished business, we have approval of an ordinance deed of easement and agreement with Alshore Properties LLC for 231 North Locust Street. Approval of an ordinance conveyance of property no longer needed for a public purpose to Hagerstown Industrial Properties LLC, 55 West Oak Ridge Drive. Under new business, we have introduction of an ordinance amending city code by repealing Chapter 197 rental facilities and reenacting Chapter 197 with amendments of a technical nature recommended by the city attorney. Approval of resolution restricting entry into alley 4-019 from Locust Street. Approval of resolution, approval of reallocation of ARPA funds to support city outreach and case management positions, Horizon Goodwill Industries. Approval of quick claim portion of alley 3-13. Approval of a resolution approving the First Amendment to the promissory note with Marketplace LLC. Revised payment schedule for Marketplace LLC. Approval of City Center Holiday Parking Program. Approval of funding for Community Coalition Lobbyists. Approval of Barbara Ingram School for the Arts Foundation Holiday Lamp Post Decorating Project. Approval of issuance of notice of termination to Air Products and Chemical Inc. Approval of Phase 3 of the Fieldhouse design. City Administrator comments, Mayor Council comments, and we'll adjourn.
We're also going to do the brand reveal that night too, so we'll figure out where you want that put on the agenda.
Awesome. Any questions? Great. Up next, we have United Way Pathways to Hire follow-up discussion. Hi.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am flying solo today. Heather Guestford sends her apologies. She is at home sick.
Oh, no. Feel better, Heather.
So you were stuck with me and my technologically challenged self. Since we last visited with you, we had brought to you the Pathways to Hire program. Since that time, we have taken the Pathways to Hire program and we have rebranded it, and I would like to introduce to you Live United at Work. It's a financial wellness program focusing on Alice families in Hagerstown. Again, Alice is those families that are struggling to survive. They are working families, so they are above poverty level. They are not able to receive a lot of assistance from social service agencies here, well, really anywhere. So they are struggling. They are one emergency away from going over the cliff or facing financial ruin. I know that because I've lived it. As a single mother, I struggled. I had savings and I wasn't able to get assistance. And so I'm very familiar with the Alice demographic. In Hagerstown, Alice is at 50%. So we have 50% of our families are struggling just to make ends meet. Countywide, we're at about 40. So we are focusing on city right now. They're one, like I said earlier, they're one crisis away from poverty. Millions of middle-class Americans are just one missed paycheck away from poverty. 4 out of 10 are considered liquid asset poor, meaning they just don't have enough savings. Less than 60% of them have an emergency savings account. And just an FYI, financial educators are now saying that in your emergency savings account, since COVID, you should have at least 9 to 12 months of your fixed expenses in a savings account for emergencies. I don't know about you, but that would be pretty difficult for many folks that I know. So as you know, that United Way, we work with over 53 organizations and we serve over 65,000 residents are served annually. That has not changed. What I do want to talk about is the financial stability program that is already existing. United Way and REACH of Washington County partnered in 2015 to establish the first of its kind collaborative financial education partnership. We've served over 13 organizations and over 2,500 Washington County residents since that time. So we already have the infrastructure in place to provide supports to the working families. However, REACH has typically addressed the poverty population and not the Alice. So what we will be doing with this program is that we will be meeting people where they are, working families, by meeting with them one-on-one at work. We will be working with employers to meet employees, especially those that are distracted or stressed out by their financial situations. We'll provide financial education and coaching, working with them over lunch breaks, between shifts, whatever that needs to be. We will then refer them to the community partner agencies if necessary, but we need to remember that these are individuals that most likely would not be able to receive assistance from our community partner agencies. We've already partnered with a bank, a local community bank, to provide a payday lending alternative. It's a small dollar loan. If a family is experiencing a crisis, they may qualify. It would be a small dollar loan. There would be savings and some type of component mixed in with that. So they would, in their repayment payday, there would be a payroll deduction, and there would be savings tied into that. So they would be able to build savings, work on their credit, and also be able to mitigate any kind of financial crisis that they have. And we are also working with the Cash Campaign in Maryland to bring volunteers and tax preparation assistance back. That's the free tax prep assistance to individuals who can't afford to go to those places that charge an arm and a leg to get their taxes done. And we know that tax prep is really important to our ALICE families because many of them are either eligible for earned income tax credit or the child tax credit. So, and that becomes costly for those of us that go and pay someone to get their taxes done. You know how expensive that can be. So our ALICE families really need that free assistance. And finally, we are going to debut the Live United at Work Urgent Needs Grant. This would be a one-time grant targeted for individuals experiencing some kind of crisis. It would be employer or nonprofit nominated. There would be a vetting process for that through our Community Impact Committee, and it would be up to $1,000 per month. So say someone's house burnt down and they have renter's insurance, but they have a high deductible, that grant money might be able to help ease some of that burden. And again, we had the cost of working, transportation, childcare, and work supplies. We will continue to supplement individuals that need assistance with transportation through gas cards reimbursement. We will be working with Uber and Lyft to provide Ride United. The cost of working for childcare vouchers, we have partnered with a number of before and after care programs and full day care, including Beacon House, to supplement some child care if that might be an identifiable barrier for a family, as well as supplies. And we talked about that the last time we were here. If I'm going too fast, because I tend to do that when I get nervous, if I'm talking too fast, tell me to slow down. And we would still assist individuals with IDs, birth certificates, expungement, which I have identified as being a huge barrier for some folks, and employment supplies as well. And we have since partnered with the consortium to provide some of these services as well. We will hire a program coordinator. We will recruit that individual. They will work with me. Lucky them. And that is the budget. So do you have any questions for me? I know I kind of really blew through this, but I didn't want to beat a dead horse, so to speak.
What is the total ask now?
$425,000 is the same. We just revamped it, the budget.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a
I'll get you a copy. I'll get it, but we just got this today, so I'll get you a
Okay.
copy of the presentation.
Okay. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, amendment to Marketplace LLC parking lot payment. Chris, similarly.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I'm here on behalf of Marketplace LLC to review the extension request for their current payment schedule for the parking lot at 25 West Church Street. Due to the delay in settlement with everything, the owner is asking for a 5-month extension to the payment schedule because they believe that otherwise there would be a longer fit-out process and further delay in becoming operational. As a result of this, we are looking at requesting an extension of the current deadlines for each of the $100,000 payments by 5 months. So the next payment would be January 1st, 2023, push that to June 1st, 2023, and so on, for the next 4 years.
You guys go with it?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Light Department operational status and action plan, Nathan. And Nancy. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. We're here this evening just to give you a brief discussion on our operational financial status with the Light Department and our action items moving forward. Of course, there's a lot of things going on here with the department. You know, there's a lot of time spent with the communication companies coming in, installing fiber optics. A lot of our materials are being used to perform make-ready work to meet the NESC requirements for clearances and so forth. So as you've known from a couple months here, we've had some issues with acquiring materials for these projects and for our anticipated projects, and we'll continue to procure in advance and try to stock up on items as we can, as much as we can. We will continue our vegetation management program, you know, clear the trees from the lines to maintain our distribution system, continue with the street light replacement program. We are noticing that the current street lights are becoming obsolete. They are either no longer available or the costs are, the last time we looked, the light bulb has inflated about 300%. We would like to proactively replace some of our substation equipment controls. A lot of these devices are obsolete. And right now, we replace as we find that they have failed. There's a lot of the similar equipment out there that it would be good to get ahead of it and proactively replace those items, which requires a complete outfit within the circuit breakers and so forth. A substation transformer unit recently failed at Frederick Street Substation. We did swap it out with the spare unit that we keep at Zaire. We would like to put out an RFP to replace some of these units. That unit's design is similar to probably 6 other units, maybe 4 or 5 other units on the system. So again, to be proactive, it would be good to get a hold of a couple of different spares. We'd also like to introduce a pole inspection program to identify poles before they fall over from rot or insect abuse. Also, the Public Service Commission requires us to do annual meter testing. We were finding that a lot of these mechanical meters we have in the field are failing, and the commission will at some point require us to begin a mass meter replacement program, get these meters off our system, and we feel that while we're doing that, it might be best to look into replacing these mechanical devices with advanced meters. The advanced meters would have a communication network all their own to give us live reads, live billing for our billing customer service office. Also give us benefits in our distribution office for our outage management system. We'd know the customer was out before they did. Another issue we're facing, a separate issue, is recruitment and retainage, specifically with the line workers. Right now, we are at 8 line workers. We do have 10 funded line worker positions. We've had 2 openings since, I believe it was April or May of this year. We're having trouble recruiting experienced line workers. And it's difficult to recruit additional apprentices. We do have to maintain a certain ratio of experienced to non-experienced employees. And we don't know, with the experienced employees that we do have on staff, there could be retirement or they could just resign and move on to other companies that are paying a lot more than what the Hagerstown Light Department is. So our plans moving forward are to hire a consultant to perform a wage analysis for the light department, the IBW and non-union staff, and use that data in a cost of service study and analysis performed by another consultant for justifiable data to take to the commission for a rate increase. We have not increased rates since 2006. The last study was done in 2005. We haven't increased our base revenue rates since '06. So basically, that's our nutshell moving forward. I will add, I guess, our for the FY23 budget, which was recently approved, the projections, our cash projections are projected to be depleted in the FY26 timeframe. So, here to answer any questions you may have.
And I don't have a question.
Okay.
I think when people, citizens, out there hear these things, they hear rate increases, right?
Mhm.
But I think it's important for us to explain it to citizens the way that we have to manage it.
Right.
And for me, the best way I can put it is, as you've identified, we're one of 5 remaining municipalities across. In fact, I was just talking with a natural gas vendor today about this very subject, coincidentally enough. But anyway, we're sort of like the Amazon of municipal electric utility entities, with our ability to buy electric, if you want to consider it widgets, at a cost that other vendors or municipalities simply can't get it at any longer because they don't own the infrastructure, right? And that's what keeps our costs low. And the best way I can explain this to citizens in terms of the necessary, the need for adjustments, increases in the rate, is if we're not going to properly maintain and manage this necessary enterprise infrastructure to the degree that allows us to do it cheaper and to do it faster, then we might as well sell it to a private entity that everybody else is beholden to the private business decisions of. This is a huge advantage to us, and so these marginal rate adjustments have to happen, or we either have a defunct system or we have a system we should just transfer to another private provider. And so I just, that's the best way for me to understand it when you come in and say, hey, and I see this, even in my own employment, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the cost of pipe for sewer lines or the cost of valves and meters for our water system or the cost of asphalt. I feel like your presentation today is almost a year behind schedule as it applies to the pace at which the economy has changed in being able to procure, find and procure these goods. So I'm all in favor.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, even though we're a governmental entity, we have to perform like a private business. We have fixed costs, and those costs increase, but with everybody else. And we have to keep our infrastructure up to date, or as Crystal said, we won't be able to supply that low cost of electricity to our customers.
Yeah, this isn't a governmental service that we're talking about. It isn't like the library, and no offense to the library, but if it's shut down tomorrow, people would still function. They'd be upset, people would still function. We can't have a system where the lights turn off. And when you start talking about transformers, which take at least 6 months at this point to procure, find.
3 years in this.
Yeah,
I'm saying, I'm
yeah.
saying just to find and procure and get that contract underway, to start that process. You're talking 6 months, that's to get it in queue, right? And then 18 months to 24 months, to have some assurity that it's coming. You know, and so, yeah, I think that's the way I've always looked at it.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on is our responsiveness. Our customers, you know, unless we have a really bad weather event, we have our customers back in service quicker than any other electric utility. And we really pride ourselves on that customer service aspect.
You also need personnel for that.
We do. And of course, like Nathan said, that's a huge struggle
Sure.
as well.
Do we know what the answer to that is?
I think hopefully the wage study would realign the contract, the IBW contract, and bring some guys in. It's the only thing I can hope at this
Yeah.
point. Otherwise, the answer would be, bringing in contractors to do our work for us.
Subcontract,
Yeah, and the water and wastewater groups have kind of already went through this with our older workforce, where we have at least 50% or more of our operators with 10 years or less seniority. In the light department, we're also, you know, moving in that direction where, you know, our workforce is getting older, and unfortunately, it's harder to bring new linemen in and compete with the other entities.
Yeah, we have, of the 8 line workers we have, 2 of them have over 20 years, probably over 25 years. The rest have under 10.
Yeah.
It's been a revolving door for years. They find better opportunities out there.
Are we always recruiting? Are you
We're always
trying
attempting to recruit.
One pipeline?
It's an open advertisement at this point.
Yeah.
Got
Not
something
only for
a little
experience,
more
but for
subject.
entry level, we're having a hard time competing on the entry level.
Mother's Day parade coming up.
Mhm.
Could we do a check in the 200 and 300 blocks of South Potomac and the 600 and 700 blocks of South Potomac?
Mhm.
I just haven't run the whole,
Both places are
Run the whole
usually
line.
dark and it's tough, and trees don't help down in that area. And
What's that?
also, one other thing, there was a pole in the 200 block of North Locust Street. You cannot miss it when you get ready to crest that hill there at East Avenue. That pole is like this. I swear to God.
Okay.
Every day I go by, I'm waiting for it not to be there. I'm
Yes.
expecting it to be down, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, I can't believe that thing hasn't fallen.
what's the parade?
29th.
29th.
We'll also, in
200,
addition,
300 blocks, 6 and 7, 400, 500 blocks.
we'll also check the meter tile lids as well to make sure everything's down tight and there's no tripping hazards associated with those, as well as the lighting.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too.
And up next, fiscal year 22 Axon Air contract for HPD. Piper? Dr. Barner?
I brought backup.
Brashears doesn't have to hide in there.
He does. He does. Well, good evening. We are here to request ARPA money to buy some drones. Axon has a drone program that's on a state contract, and the initial year would be $134,000. That would be to buy all the drones. And we're looking at buying 14 drones, 4 large drones, 6 drones that we kind of have now that would look like that, and then 4 little mini drones that can be flown inside of a building. So we want to talk a little bit about what those things do. So why do we need so many? We're going to purposely get about 12 people certified to fly these drones within our department. So I see that as a recruiting and retention tool. You can come to HPD and you'll be able to fly drones. And you can be a patrol officer and do that. You don't have to be in a specialized unit. You don't have to be in the tech unit or something like that. Having the normal drones can go up when they need it. It expands our capabilities without having to expand personnel. The mini drones for going into homes on a search warrant or things like that, we think might be dangerous, but you fly that drone into a building, and it saves sending officers in to meet a threat that we don't know is there. And then the big drones, which we want to show. So would you guys like to see a demo of one of the drones? Okay, so we're going to do a demo of one of the drones here. We'll do one of the mini drones first, and then you want to watch up on the screen, that's the camera.
My job is to dive in front of the drone. If it
He's the
comes
Secret
in.
Service agent, who jumps in front to make sure the mayor doesn't get hit by a drone. So.
I'm expendable, that's why I'm here.
So this is the mini drone. This drone will,
Hold your papers.
this drone is the one we'll fly into a building if we need to do search warrants. As you can see from the screen, the visuals that you can get, fly in tight spaces, and they're very balanced in their platform. And I'm gonna let the Axon reps talk to you a little bit more about the actual drones, but I wanted to give a little dramatic entrance on our drone, and let you guys know. So this is the little one. Nick, you wanna bring in the other ones? And then we'll talk a little bit. Everyone has seen drones similar to that you could buy off the shelf. These are not off the shelf drones. And the software from these drones is advanced because it will drop that whole video into our Axon evidence.com. So all that video is just like our body cam footage. We can trap that and put it into our evidence.com, and it'll work seamlessly on that. So this is the Mac Daddy one, and I'm gonna let Nick and the Axon reps talk to you about this one. And then what they can do is take this one outside, and same as what they just did here, show you what the capabilities of this camera can do for this. So one of the things we're looking at using this drone for is to combat our dirt bike and our four-wheeler guys. So I'll let Nick and all those guys talk about that, and that's just one capability of this. Project Lifesaver, missing persons, people that we need to go look for in wooded areas. This is perfect for those kinds of things. So I'm gonna let Nick talk about that briefly.
So a couple of the features that are really cool about the Axon Air partnership with the DJI platform is what you're seeing on the screens here. That's a live stream. You can download a QR code and be able to, so we can send that out to any of our command. We can put in a command post. Officers on the scene can be live streaming what the drone video is collecting. And then, like the chief talked about, 3 different platforms. Obviously, this is the Matrice 30T. It has advanced features, a little longer fly time, further distance, and obviously it's got a much more robust camera lens for zooming, for tracking, a lot of cool built-in analytics and features that this has over the other 2 platforms. The advanced drone is the one the chief was talking about. This would be like a rapid deployment drone. This would be the one that the patrol officers would have available to them. Missing person, we can get the drone up immediately. Searching an area for evidence, searching an area for persons. There really is a boundless amount of uses for these drones as we go into the different deployment options. So, you want to hit on some of your stuff?
I think you've covered it all really well. 3 different versions, right? You have the indoor, which you can use in cases where you don't want someone to actually physically enter whatever that is, or to be able to see what's happening before you have people in there taking any risk for human life.
Are they fire retardant on each channel?
Are they fire retardant? It's a good question.
HFD would wanna.
These would not work in that deployment as far as going inside the building. Obviously, they could be used externally. The 30T is more weather resistant. It can fly in the rain. You can talk a little bit more about that.
It's
Higher wind capabilities. Yep.
We even took that mini that you just saw flying around the room out and tested it in high wind outside earlier today, and it held steady. So the capabilities for these drones are to withstand weather, to withstand some of the situations that you'd be in where you typically wouldn't have eyes in the sky or be able to have the availability. Absolutely, good question.
What's the battery time for the different models?
Well, there's a couple of different answers to that. We always have spare batteries for all of the units, so you'd have a handful of extra batteries. How long does,
Yeah, so they're all right around between 25 to 35 minutes, depending on weather conditions. We have done training exercises where we've stayed consistently flying for 2.5, 3 hours with the battery change out. So you fly, battery life, immediately switch out. With multiple drones, you wouldn't even have to have any downtime at all. As this drone is coming in, another drone would go out. So you'd constantly have that drone in the sky.
and you constantly have those backup batteries being powered so that you have a full battery life at any given time. You just bring it down, switch out the battery packs, and take it back up.
Would the patrol officer be operating or someone from the station be operating the drones?
Well, it depends on the situation. So one of the things that we're looking into is more of a, it's called drone as a first responder. It actually positions drones throughout the city and they can be flown remotely. So there's a lot of hurdles to go through as we kind of dive into. It's very cutting edge way to approach the drones. But these 30 Ts that we're looking at purchasing or requesting purchasing, that's the platform that they're using for DFRs in other cities. So, and that would be what you're talking about, which would be a remote pilot sitting there on a PS5 controller, being able to fly the drone. So.
Speak a little bit more to the fact that you're gonna have people on patrol. There's always going to be, in a perfect situation, a couple pilots available for any situation.
Yeah, Chief hit on that a little
Yeah.
bit. We've already started that process. We have people that have volunteered to be part of our pilot program. Kevin, Sergeant Brashears, and myself are both FAA 107 licensed flyers right now, and administering the drone program for the city, or for the police department. In addition, we've identified multiple people from each patrol shift that are gonna be going through that course, as well as internal trainings to get them up to speed on flying. So now you can see, this is the advanced drone, so this is the in-between drone. It's
It's outside
flying right
right now.
off the square.
Yeah.
And the granular that you're seeing is connectivity mostly. I mean, when we're doing zoom ins like that, you're getting all the detail. These cameras are very advanced.
So can you just touch on it a little more, because, I mean, I don't feel like the picture is as clear as I expected.
Yeah, he's gonna go into thermal there, give you an idea of what the thermal looks like. What you're seeing in the quality is you're broadcasting that over the internet, so obviously it's compressing the video quality. But what we're actually seeing on the controller itself and what you're getting in digital evidence is very high quality video footage. So all this is just because it's being streamed that you're losing that quality. So looks like a scene from The Office.
Nick, give the example you gave me earlier today about at the fairgrounds, you had one of these drones up, and how far you could.
Yeah, so one of the features of the 30T is the ability to lock on and track different objects, vehicles, persons. We were at the fairgrounds doing a demo on that. We're not going to see that demo specifically today, but we were at the fairgrounds doing this demo. We locked onto a vehicle that was driving down Mulberry Street. The drone, without the drone actually flying anywhere, tracked the vehicle the entire way down Mulberry Street to Washington Street. The analytics on it predicted where it would be coming out on the next intersection. We followed it all the way to Sheets and got the tag from the drone from the fairgrounds to the Sheets parking lot. We were able to get the tag of the vehicle. So again, very, very advanced optics.
So from fairgrounds?
Yep, right above us, above the POW building,
Right.
shooting all the way to Sheets and getting the tag of the vehicle from there.
Huh.
Very, very impressive. And we can see a little, if I don't think this is a mobile meeting, but if you guys want to see outside, we would be able to display some of that on the 30T. We're not going to be able to connect it through the Axon Air for the demo purposes right now. So there you're seeing a dual, will be a thermal overlay. So obviously, as the weather gets colder, the thermal cameras are much more useful
Yeah.
in the outdoor environment.
And again, we just talked about the dirt bikes situation we've been dealing with for the last couple of years. What Nick talked about, having that drone go up and lock in on a dirt bike or a group of dirt bikes, and basically track those dirt bikes. Our guys don't have to go out and drive around trying to stay in contact with them because we can't.
Or high-speed chase.
Or high-speed chase or anything like that. We have to break that off, we can throw the drone up and we can find out where that car goes and they pull into their house, we can go contact them in their house. So we don't have to put people in danger, and it's a lot cheaper than a helicopter. It's a
Yeah,
lot
drone
cheaper.
could be 3 blocks away and be able to still identify where they pull in at. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool, I like that. We should get all them dirt bikes in.
So we're looking at about 4 of the big ones, 6 of the medium-sized ones, and I think 4 of the small minis we're going.
And then,
What's the interest in buying, I mean, that just seems like a large number.
Yeah.
I mean, are we going from 0 to 14?
yeah, no, we have actually 3 different drone platforms right now. 2 of the DJI, they're called, anyway, it's basically the version before the Advanced. The Advanced is the latest version of that. And then we have a USA Parrot drone that fell out of the sky on us, so we won't really use that one a whole lot. The company has had issues with the drone specifically. So the way that the drones break down is that if you look at the shifts and you look at the people that are gonna be assigned to drones, that's where the advanced drones come in. You have tactical applications, so one of the 30Ts would obviously go with one of our tactical SRT element, as well as an advanced and a 1 or 2 of the minis. The minis are really purchased as throwaway drones. I mean, their cost point on them is like, I think $500 or $600. The point of that is if you need to throw them in there instead of an officer going through a door, it's a lot better to lose that drone in that situation. So those are there specifically for that application. Fly inside, somebody wants to take a baseball bat to it, we're gonna know where they're at in the house. Those kind of applications. So you look at the 6, and then the 30T drones, you have, like I said, SRT, you have basically our response, which would be criminal investigation and crime suppression team, and then you have what will be the start of our DFR, drone as a first responder, which is why we're looking at the multiple of that drone platform. Also, what we talked about, which is being able to bring the drone in as another drone goes out, that would be more advanced application for like the 30T, Matrice 30T deployment.
So for those long deployments, we don't have to worry about having the ram down, change out the battery, put it back up, and then find our target again. Just constantly swapping up. If it moves, you could have multiple drones in the air to do those platforms. Not necessarily to track a dirt bike rider, that's not necessarily for that platform, but for other applications, we could throw out multiple drones, at least the big ones. The smaller ones were gonna be assigned to shifts, so each shift would have, those operators would have one. Because inevitably, anytime you share equipment, it doesn't get shared. And that's what happens with what we do. So we've learned a long time ago, if I'm gonna share radios, which when I first started here, that's what it was. You got a radio when you came in, you got the shift
You got a
for
video,
you.
yeah.
And sometimes you didn't get it, the battery wasn't charged, there's always some problem with that. Whereas if you two are the operators on your shift, you're responsible for that drone and make sure it's operational and ready to go. There's people accountable for that a lot easier than just saying, when you're done using your drone, make sure they get the drone, and then it doesn't change hands, something happens. So for the cost, for the outright cost of the ARPA money, which is about $139,000, that's the big crux of it. The licensing of everything else is all the software that comes with them. That's the out years that'll be part of our budget, that we put into our budget. We think is very reasonable.
I think this is
I'm good
awesome.
with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can think of sitting here running through multiple scenarios already.
And I know we already mentioned it, but I just want to say it again, because we hear all the time, dirt bikes, like over and over again, and people say, you know, you guys are telling the police not to do anything about it, or we hear that all the time, so, 1, we're not, but 2, thank you for trying to be innovative and finding ways to solve this issue that the entire state is dealing with, not just us.
Sure.
We appreciate that.
It is across all jurisdictions, and then I hear, well, it'll go away in the winter for a while, and that doesn't solve the problem,
Yeah.
right? How do we help solve the problem without putting people in chase situations?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
dirt bikes, but-
Thank
Crush the Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to go into special session, please?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution to accept an amended sales agreement for 441 South Potomac Street with Columbia Gas of Maryland.
Madam Mayor, we move to approve the amended and restated real estate purchase and sales agreement with Columbia Gas for the acquisition of 1.08 acres of their property at 441 South Potomac Street for the future construction of a station and offices for Hagerstown Fire Department.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. City Administrator.
Mayor's been a real good week. We had a real good week last week, too, down at MML Fall Conference. Got to talk to a lot of municipalities related to ARPA spending and blight control. I think a lot of communities are looking at us as to how we're going to handle both of those, because we do seem to be a little bit more out ahead of both of those items than a lot of other municipalities. So I think we're in a pretty good position there. As far as this week goes, the mayor mentioned over 400,000 or 400 million plus dollars in investment. Also, with all of these groundbreakings, over 3,500 potential jobs coming to the community. So I want to thank Economic Development for all the work that they have done. I think right now Economic Development is positioned about as well as we ever have been in that area, and the hits just keep on coming. And I think the folks at Kerwood said it very well, that Hagerstown is getting a lot of good press out in that circle of professionals. So I think we got a lot of good things happening. Also, like the mayor said on these drones, we take a lot of heat in social media on a lot of things, and in the newspaper on a lot of things. And we look to be as innovative as possible, spending the taxpayer's dollar as wisely as possible, but getting the job done. And I think all of our departments are doing that. This drone technology is a game changer in how we provide law enforcement within the city of Hagerstown, not only in getting the job done, but keeping people, not only our officers, but also the community safe as we're doing it. So I appreciate all the work the police department has done to bring this technology forward. And you won't find two guys more knowledgeable on this stuff than Nick Varner and Kevin Brashears. And I see that commitment all throughout the police department, and I appreciate, and our taxpayers and our residents and visitors should appreciate that beyond words. So thank you for all of that, and thank you all for the support you all provide in everything we've done today. I think today has been probably one of the most notable days that we've had in Hagerstown in many, many years. So thank you all for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Martinez.
I just want to say congratulations to the Dolman family and to Alicia Parsons. That was an amazing, amazing thing yesterday. Not only that, walking through with who we hope to be our next governor, Westmore, walking through the Jonathan Street community, seeing the faces of community, seeing them out there dance, and then to get up at the end of the block and see family and history being celebrated. And so that was a huge win for the community. It felt good to walk down this morning and see people out clean and happy. I just felt like a lot of hope was planted within the community yesterday. So thank you, Madam Mayor, for orchestrating that with Westmore and everybody walking up the block. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think that even in our meeting today, whether it's the mention of the Dolman Black Heritage Museum or the Columbia Gas purchase we just approved, I feel like I'm going to have a Lou Metzner moment where I say, I'm a guy that's been sitting here talking about this stuff for a long time. It's like, this stuff ain't never going to, and then suddenly, like, you know, in a week's span of time, like 6 things. They Rodney's sitting back there nodding, just sort of put on a board, you know, somewhere in his office and said, yeah, this will happen, you know. Sometime is happening, so that's a really cool thing, so thank you.
Councilmember Burnett?
Echo everything you all said, especially with the economic department. Not only that, with scheduling all of the business meetings, you guys have been really, really hard at work. I really like the shout out your Meet the Team page, and also Cassie, your work on LinkedIn of also promoting Hagerstown. I think it's doing a lot of great work, so thank you guys.
Councilmember Burgess?
I was very happy to attend several things in the last 2 days as Kristen said, having a Loop moment has been on our plates forever. And it looks like things are finally coming to fruition. You know, be it the Dolman Black Heritage Museum or the multi-use sports and event facility. You know, we have the parking deck that we discussed, that has been discussed at this table for 25 years. I mean, all those things are coming to us, and we deserve them. So, yeah, good couple days here in Hagerstown and Washington County. And kudos to HPD for being proactive and doing the things that they need to do. So, thank you.
Thank you. So I have a whole list of things, I apologize, but we didn't meet last Tuesday, so I gotta start back with the Friday before when President Biden came to Hagerstown. And, yeah, kind of a big deal, right? But it was really cool seeing him fly into Hagerstown Airport and then hearing him speak at Volvo. And it was just the honor of my lifetime to get to greet the president, and it was cool to share that moment with so many people at Volvo, some city staff and Councilmember Burnett and Shelley McIntyre and Scott. Shelby McIntyre, yes. Being able to sit and talk with the president about our city and tell him how great it is and some of the projects that we are working on and the impact that the ARPA money has made and the infrastructure bill will make is a pretty cool experience. So thank him for choosing Hagerstown for that event. And the next day, we went outdoor skating. So thank you for the staff that put together the roller skating. I've wanted to have a roller skating event in the city for a year now, ever since I saw Ohio do it. Museum revealing it's a big relief of like, finally, this is gonna happen, and that's very cool. And today with Kerwood and the stadium and 2 of the other things that happened, it's been a big day. And I know that Scott already shouted out our economic development team, but at the Kerwood Logistics Center today, they spoke just so highly of the team here in Hagerstown. And afterwards, one of the principal agents came up to me and he said, I don't speak about municipalities like this. Like, we do not. He said, normally we see a municipality and we just dread it because they're so difficult to work with. And he said his experience with Hagerstown is completely different than municipalities across the country. And I think that speaks volumes to our team, so thank you. And thanks to Governor Hogan on your farewell tour for visiting Hagerstown today. He has done well for the last 6 years. What that was about. But we appreciate your service to Hagerstown and Washington County. So thanks, Governor Hogan, for showing up once again. And lastly, this weekend, the mayor and council members from our sister city, Basel, Germany, will be here. So we look forward to hosting them at a host of events beginning Thursday night until Sunday. So hopefully we'll see you out and about. And you said something, we deserve them all. I couldn't agree with you more. Hagerstown deserves nice things. And you mentioned we take a lot of heat all the time. And we do take a lot of heat all the time, but we deserve nice things. And when we have good days like today and like last week, we need to breathe life into this community. Instead of pointing out all the bad things, help us while we work on those bad things and celebrate days like today. Because we deserve all of the things that we're getting. And this town deserves all of the credit and all of the growth and all of the 3,600 new jobs and all of that. So I hope you'll join us as we continue to grow and prosper. With that, we're adjourned.
Oh, we need